Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. It's another news roundup video we've got in store for you today. We've got more on the news of the Harry Kane situation. We may have a possible one in, one out system at Arsenal that is set to be taking place very soon. And we've also got a couple of contract renewals to talk about as well, amongst a couple of other things. But before we go any further in speaking about any of these things, I would like to remind you to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things are always and forever be greatly appreciated. But for now, let's get back to talking about all the news roundup from the world of football, beginning with the Harry Kane situation. So yeah, we're diving headfirst into it. We're diving headfirst, first and foremost, straight into the Harry Kane situation because developments occurred yesterday. Basically, I really do hope you all know the story by now. Basically, Kane wants to leave Spurs. Manchester City, very interested. Already had a bid rejected for the England striker by Tottenham. But they are preparing to go for round two. They are preparing a second bid. Apparently, they're already in another bid for the England striker. And this part of the story all comes from one Fabrizio Romano, who tweeted yesterday saying, exclusive, Manchester City are not giving up on Harry Kane deal. Manchester City board preparing a new bid for 150 million euros if Spurs stance will, and to see if Spurs stance will change. Tottenham have not yet received any new proposal for Kane yet and want to keep him. Man City's strategy is to be ready and wait. So basically, nothing necessarily new here that we didn't already know, apart from the apparent figure of the bid. We knew that City were going to come back in for the England striker. We knew that Spurs are digging their heels in to try and keep hold of their talisman. We all knew this. It just seems that City are playing the waiting game about this and seeing if Kane will either kick up more of a fuss within Spurs to see if Spurs will give in to his demands, or to see if Spurs may be a bit tempted in taking that particular offer, even though it's not necessarily the asking price that Daniel Levy has set for his, obviously, star, his crown, his jewel in the crown, so to speak. But this one is going to be a very interesting watch, particularly as the days count down to the end of the transfer window. Of course, Tottenham are playing City on Sunday in their opening game of the season. It's possible that Kane could be playing in a Spurs shirt on Sunday in that game, although even if he is available, I don't think we will see him on the pitch personally, to be honest. I don't think his mindset will be in the right place. I don't even think his fitness will be up to that standard, so we'll have to wait and see on that score what happens on Sunday. But it will be very interesting to see the battle on the pitch rather than this sort of tug of war that these two teams are in for Harry Kane off the pitch. But like I say, as the days tick down, I just think that if City don't get Kane and don't have any sort of alternative lined up, because let's face it, I think we would have heard by now if there were any kind of alternative for Kane in this situation. But City must be feeling pretty confident that they can acquire the England striker for their squad for next season. But like I say, if they miss out on this and don't get any other striker, City might, in my opinion, miss out on the Premier League title at the very least. Next we come to a story that for Arsenal has been floating around in the background for a while. It revolves around Martin Odegaard, the Norwegian playmaker, who of course was on loan for the second half of last season with the Gunners at the Emirates Stadium, where he gave a pretty good account for himself. The story here is that returning to Madrid left some questions unanswered. We didn't know about Odegaard's future at Madrid, and we didn't know about Arsenal wanting to pursue a possible permanent deal for him. You look at what's happened with Madrid since Odegaard's absence and being with Arsenal. There's been a lot that's changed at the club. There's been a change of manager. Zinedine Zidane, of course, is not in charge anymore. It's Carlo Ancelotti. There's also been a lot of financial stuff to sort out with Madrid. They're in huge financial debt and crisis over there. So, of course, they've been looking at trying to acquire money for that. And, of course, there are rumours still that Madrid are planning something big within the next couple of years or so, something massive, something about a Kylian Mbappe possibly, or something like that. So Odegaard's future is kind of left up in the air, whether he's going to stay at the club, whether he wasn't. Whilst all this was happening, of course, Arsenal were trying to pursue a creative midfielder. Hassan Mawar was mentioned, but the ones that really stuck in that kind of particular rumour mill were the names of James Maddison and, of course, Odegaard. Talks were said to be ongoing between Arsenal and Leicester for Maddison, but it seems that Arsenal aren't willing to meet Leicester's demands. Whilst all this was going on, Arsenal was said to be keeping an eye on the Odegaard situation, depending on whether Madrid wanted to sell him or not. Well, today it's been revealed that the Norwegian has not been registered by Madrid for the upcoming season and has been left without a shirt number as well, indicating that Madrid are ready to sell him. It's being said that the deal for Arsenal is there for the taking, and at 50 million euros is the asking price set by Madrid, although that is just rumours and reports. Nothing should really stand in the way of this deal happening if Arsenal can pay the asking price set by Madrid. And it seems that if Arsenal are deadly serious about pursuing Odegaard, then Odegaard will officially become a permanent Arsenal player in the near future. But we wait and see what happens with this story. Leading on from the Odegaard story, could it be a case of one in and one out at Arsenal? Because it seems that Joe Willock is only a matter of time away from being unveiled as a Newcastle player. We brought up this story a few days ago. We talked about this story that the midfielder was subject to a £25 million move from Arsenal to Newcastle, and yesterday it was reported that he had agreed personal terms with the Magpies and then travelled to Newcastle to have a medical. Assuming that there's no major issues here and that no one performs any sort of major U-turn in this deal, Willock does seem to be very much a Newcastle player, and it's only a matter of time, like I say, before the official confirmation of that comes to light. And then after that, Newcastle will have performed their first piece of business in this transfer window. It's been a long time coming. I know there's been a lot of unhappy faces with the Newcastle supporters this summer. There's been obviously a lot of turmoil there. They've not been happy at the club's transfer activity, or lack of transfer activity I should say, whilst also getting rid of several players within their squad. But like I say, I think that for Newcastle, there are at least 3 worse teams than them in the Premier League, and I know it isn't good enough when I say that for a club like Newcastle, but they will stay afloat this season in my opinion. Back to Willock though, we all know about Willock. He spent the second half of last season on loan with Newcastle, and his goals were one of the major reasons why the Magpies ended up staying up last season, and staying up, albeit considerably, sort of comfortably. And he'll surely be hoping to pick up where he left off from last season. But it does, like I say, bottom line here is that it does seem that Newcastle will complete their first piece of business in this transfer window in the form of Joe Willock, with the official announcement seemingly being imminent if reports are to be believed. Next to a story that we've talked about and discussed a lot this summer, it is Romelu Lukaku. He is officially signed for Chelsea. This deal is done and dusted. We can finally put this entire story, situation and saga to bed. It is officially over. Romelu Lukaku is back at the bridge, back with Chelsea. Like I say, not going to spend a lot of time on this because I've talked about it a lot in previous videos. So if you want more of my thoughts and opinions on this subject, then go back and find the previous videos in which I talked about him. But for the past couple of days or so, Lukaku has been in London to tie up all the loose ends with this deal, and now has officially completed his move from Italy back to London, back to Chelsea, back to Stamford Bridge. It's all gone through, it's all done, dusted, completed, it's all above board. Romelu Lukaku is back as a Chelsea striker. And like I say, I know that he can't play this weekend against Crystal Palace in Chelsea's opening game of the season, but for the following week, he'll probably be straight in my fantasy team. I'm not going to lie. He'll probably be straight in my fantasy team this season. I predict big things from Lukaku this season. Next, move on to Liverpool, and surprise, surprise, it's not a new signing. It is a contract renewal that we're going to be talking about. Virgil Van Dijk signs a new long-term contract at Anfield with the Reds, following in the footsteps, of course, of Trent Alexander-Arnold, Fabinho and goalkeeper Alisson Becker, who have all signed new contracts this summer. Virgil van Dijk is the next big name player at Anfield to commit his long-term future with the club. The Dutch centre-back signed for Liverpool back in 2018 and today has said to have signed a new deal lasting until 2025. He is, of course, returning from the brutal knee injury that saw him miss the majority of last season. And I know I speak for all Liverpool fans when I say that I hope and pray that he gets back to being at his very best. He gets back to being the player that he was before his injury, because he is an absolute beast of a centre-back, and of course was the best centre-back in the Premier League, in my opinion. I've got to say, in my opinion, it's pretty much a lot of people's opinions, but it's also my opinion as well. I know it's one of the worst, or even the worst injury that you can possibly pick up in football, what he had, so it may take some time for him to return back to his very best, but fingers crossed that he gets there, fingers crossed that he continues to obviously gain more minutes and continue his recovery, and like I say, fingers crossed that he can get back to his very best form when he returns fully. And finally, we come to another contract renewal, but this time in the form of a manager. Marcelo Bielsa of Leeds has signed a new one-year contract extension with the club. The Leeds manager, Bielsa, has signed a new one-year contract extension as the Argentine looks to continue his reign at the club. The Argentine took charge in 2018 and has gone on to lead Leeds back to the Premier League following a lengthy absence from the top tier division. And last season his side showed no fear in their attacking football, pulling off some great results and finishing in a very respectable and albeit very comfortable 9th place finish. And you know what? With fans back and allowed in stadiums again this season, I can only see this season being even better for Leeds United. Not only do they get to play their football in front of their fans, but their ground, Ellen Road, is going to be very hostile for anybody and everybody that comes to play there this season. And I think that Leeds will continue to ruffle a lot of feathers in the Premier League again this season, and of course Bielsa will be at the helm for that. But like I say, it will be interesting to see how Leeds progress this season and how their season unfolds from here. But of course, as they always say, these are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of the Harry Kane situation, this sort of tug of war going on right now between Tottenham and Manchester City? I'd love to know your thoughts on that. What about the Martin Odegaard situation? Your thoughts on him possibly moving permanently to Arsenal this time? What do you make of Joe Willock possibly leaving, definitely leaving Arsenal and seemingly imminently signing for Newcastle United? What do you make of the Romelu Lukaku situation, him being back at Stamford Bridge this season? How do you think he'll fare this season back at Chelsea? What do you make of Virgil van Dijk signing a new long-term contract with Liverpool at Anfield? And what do you make of Leeds United this season? How do you think they'll fare this season with, of course, Marcelo Bielsa as their manager, having just signed a new one-year contract extension? I'd love to know your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, whatever you want to call it, down below in the comment section, because I'm sure they'll all make for interesting reading. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way up if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new or want to see more content like this. Both things are always and forever be greatly appreciated. The Premier League, as we all know, is back tonight. The kickoff match is Brentford versus Arsenal. I'm going to be putting out like a Premier League predictions kind of video where I predict the upcoming round of fixtures, kicking off obviously today. So do look out for that one. I don't know when that video will be up, whether it's before this one or after this one, but it will definitely be up before kickoff tonight between those two clubs. So if you could check that out, I really appreciate it. If you could also interact and give me your opinions as well, and predictions on the upcoming round of fixtures, that would also be really appreciated, and obviously would be awesome as well. Other than that, like I always say, thanks for everyone for watching. I've been Fletch, this has been another Fletch Talks video, and I will see you all again soon in another video.